Buddy, look who's here. I have like a room full of people. Candace Cordelia is here with us from PWI, Scott Fishman from TV Insider. Good to see you both again. Thank you for coming on Sunday. Well, it's brunch time, your time.
I love this. I mean, I'm having fun with this time frame. I don't know about anyone else, but I think it's kind of fun, especially when it comes off a big show.
It is great when it comes off a big show. There's lots to talk about. And, you know, there's so much. I want to talk about last night's WWE Saturday night's main event first and get your thoughts on the matches. And then there was some commentary on social media, which I have to say that wrestling Twitter X is even more volatile than the soap Twitter X. It's just
insane. That's saying something.
I mean, I'm looking at that and I'm like, some of this is insane and theorizing, but it's great that there's theories. But let me just first talk to you about the Saturday night's main event. So what I loved about it, I'm kind of loving Jesse the Body Ventura back on the commentary. How do you feel about his takes when he's calling the matches with Michael Cole and Pat McAfee? I think it's fun when he's there. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for someone like myself and you, Michael, I'm sure, Candace, I'm not sure, but seeing Jesse back just means a deeper meaning for us. Like when you look back and you heard him on commentary for WCW and you heard him on Saturday night's main event for WWF and all the different shows, working with Gorilla Monsoon, Vince McMahon, so many others. So for someone that's generational like that, it's awesome. But he's just so good. Like he naturally fits into the dynamic of the group in 2025 and just shows you how great someone is when you're so timeless like that. He just kind of fit in. They just let him do what he wants and say what he wants. And he just brings that fresh perspective. And having him come for these Saturday night main events, I think really kind of makes it extra special. Like just putting him on these shows. So I've been having a lot of fun with it.
And you don't remember him back in the day? I do.
Yeah. It's different for me because I don't want to call myself a new wrestling fan. I think I'm pretty entrenched at this point. But for me still, who didn't grow up watching a ton of wrestling and just getting more into the history of Saturday night's main event overall and Jesse Ventura, I think it's really cool overall. I agree with what Scott said because for commentary, it's so hard to begin with. And when you hear people gelling and just having fun with it and being natural, it makes for such a much more richer and fun experience for the listener, the viewer, and the wrestling fan. So I think overall it's a great addition. Want to see more of it and want to see more of the legends as we're starting to see, in commentary and the audience. I love that. I love that they're infusing that.
I agree with you. And one of the things I wanted to say, which we'll get to later, was Shawn Michaels, but it was like, I just sat here, right? And when you hear Shawn Michaels music and he comes out to the crowd, I thought, oh, Shawn Michaels. But then it's like, it takes you back. And as a longtime fan, you get so excited hearing the music, watching the guy come out. Like all of that is it's such a fun part to me of this, of the history of wrestling and just watching it. Like I was really excited. I was like, oh, all right. So we started off with Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax in that.
We actually started off with Espanol. I don't know if you want to touch on that.
Oh, I do. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw people's commentaries about that on Twitter.
Oh my God. You talk about wrestling X being volatile. Just do something like that for the first couple minutes, and then you see the
I'm literally sitting here and I'm going, is there something wrong with my television? Because I have split both speakers. One side was coming out Spanish. One side was coming out the U.S. announced. I'm like, so I take the TV, I turn it off. I'm like, did I hit some trigger that's giving me both? Or are they that screwed up that they didn't realize this? So I text Scott and I'm like, what? And he's so funny. Scott is the best. I go, are you hearing this? And he goes, see. The standard C. I'm like, oh my God. So it isn't just me. So then I'm still like hating it. And just as I'm texting Scott, who's going like, ugh, they take it. It finally got fixed. But I was so annoyed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I what's great about social media in today's age, because if you were, this was decades ago and you're seeing this happen, you know, you don't get that immediate feedback of sharing this communal experience that you're watching something. Maybe you'll kind of grab the telephone and call someone on a landline and talk to a friend maybe, but in real time, I'm able to go like, hey, is anyone else seeing this? And then you see like it's happening. I'm like, okay, good. I'm not the only one. So I just thought it was interesting. And it was, I was going to be like, oh my God, I really want to hear Jesse and all that. So it's just, I mean, I know, you know, I'm not hating on, you know, Spanish commentary or anything like that, but when you're hearing the two different ones at the same time, it's
hearing
pretty maddening. But,
Spanish.
Thankfully, they took care of it pretty quick.
It reminded me of one of the AEW flubs. I'm sorry to say that, but like, you know, they used to have some production early on.
Yes.
I wonder.
I remember. I thought about that too.
And I wonder if that impacted some viewership numbers at the beginning of the show, because if this is happening like at the beginning of the show, is it going to stop? You know, people are going to change the channel. They're going to be like, this is annoying. I don't want to watch this right now. So I don't know if that impacted numbers at all, because it was pretty right at the beginning, which is like a very crucial time of the show. Like, I don't know if that's going to make a big deal, but something to consider.
Oh, I was really worried that I would be like, we were going to have this show today and I was going to have to watch it like this and like literally have a, like, I wouldn't be able to take it. But thank God they fixed it before the first match, which was Rhea Ripley defending the WWE Women's Championship against Nia Jax. And I actually thought this was a great match. I thought it was a good opening match. What did you think, Candace?
Absolutely. I love them both. I already had a feeling that they would start with the woman, but I think it was the right decision. It just set the pace, it set the tone. And I mean, as we're talking about Wrestling X, I still say Twitter, but Wrestling X /Twitter, folks were really into it, and rightfully so. I mean, I saw a lot of people they were so into Rhea's in-ring work. I've seen some people saying it was some of her best work that they've ever seen. I mean, they both brought it, but Rhea really, I mean, she was pulling out all types of stops. I thought it was fantastic, and it was awesome.
And one of my favorite things that I love about having WWE Saturday Night's Main Event back, I told Scott this last time, there's nothing I love better than right before the commercial break when they go back and show a slow motion of the move. That is what they did in the original show. It's so great, and it makes you feel like I'm at a sporting event and we're watching the main instant replay, this move before the break, and they actually replay the move, right? And I thought, I love that part of this concept that you don't see them do on the other shows. I agree. I thought Rhea's like maneuvers were incredibly executed. Scott, what did you?
Yes. Obviously, Rhea, you know, everyone loves Rhea and she's always given the respect that she deserves. But in the past year, I think Nia Jax deserves her flowers too. And I don't know, like, she plays the villain role so well. She embraces it. There's so many others that really can't take the heat and really kind of, they want to be fan favorites. They still, even though they're bad guys, they want to be the cool bad guy. Like, Nia Jax doesn't care. She uses it. She uses the fuel, her presentation, how she is with the crowd. Like, I sit in the crowds and these fans will say some pretty mean things to her. Like, they'll just go after her, whether it's her looks or, you know, weight, whatever. It's pretty disgusting in that sense, but she just takes it all in stride. I know that, you know, this can impact someone. You have to have really thick skin to endure some of the things that I'm sure she's enduring, but she keeps going. She's never been better, in my opinion. She's having the best matches of her career, and just the way she's been able to like move around, and you can kind of see she's really upped her game when it comes to the cardio and you know, being able to go longer. Whether she's working with a smaller opponent or a bigger opponent, you know, she has been an MVP for me for the women's division. And she has that nepotism too. She's got to fight because, of course, when she comes back, that's when The Rock kind of takes that office position, and everyone's probably going to be like, "Oh, she's only here and getting all this success because of her family." When, you know, that's farther from the truth. I mean, she may get an opportunity here and there, but being able to run with the ball and connect with the audience and get that, you know, heat, I think that was on full display last night against Rhea and the job that she did as well.
Yeah, I have to say this is the run of Nia Jax this past year that I've enjoyed of hers the most, for sure. 100%. What's stunning about what you say, Scott, and this is what kills me, there is no one. Is Nia Jax not got the most beautiful face? Isn't she also? Nia Jax is gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm always the metric I have in the gauge is the litmus test, I should say, when I'm watching with my wife, because she'll say things, that I wouldn't think of, like, and every time Nia Jax comes out, she's like, she is beautiful. Like her outfit, she loves her outfits, like always, like wearing these skin tight outfits. She's like, you go, girl. and just the way she looked, like that's I get those from her. So,
but Candace, isn't Nia also a model? She is a model.
Yeah, she is. I feel like people forget, but she's like a legitimate model. Yeah.
Like a legit.
Yeah. So it's wild. Like what you were saying, Scott. It's really sad that people still go after her for her looks, but people are gonna people. You're gonna get that, especially when you're in the public eye. And I love that Nia she's that type of person where you can even if it hurts her, she doesn't show it. And she's always been very just like, this is me, like this is who I am, and I'm gonna do my thing. And that was shown, even more so last night. Like it was such a great showing for her, and I'm happy she's back. I'm happy she's back in the WWE.
So after the pin.
Rhea knows what she's doing,
I mean, Rhea Ripley, like, look at this. I love it. After the pin, where do you think this leaves Nia? Now, where is she going to go from here? Is it like they're not going to have another rematch? I don't believe. Or do you believe? She goes into the Royal Rumble, which we'll discuss later, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see her winning the Royal Rumble, of course. Nia Jax, I mean. But I mean, there's actually potential for them to have another match, but down the line. But I think right now we're good with it. So it'll be interesting to see where they put Nia. I mean, you also have Candice LeRae with her, so they might actually go for a tag. They might make go for the tag team championship. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of pivot in that direction.
So then we had Sheamus and Bron Breakker's match. And this was Sheamus's one title that he's never won. So what did you think of this match? And what was the takeaway from it, Scott?
Just that they have really good in-ring chemistry. Sheamus has been on top of his game for the recent years. There's some incredible matches with Gunther and, and Bron Breakker. And just seeing just the ferocity of the match too, like Bron Breakker, like just the speed that he has with his big moves, and Sheamus is like perfect for that type of physicality. He really thrives in that way. And Sheamus, the way his physicality is, he can eat you alive. Like if you're not, up to the challenge. Same for Bron Breakker. So the two of them kind of dancing together was really awesome. And then I also loved the commentary from Jesse.
That's what I was going to say.
Really kind of accentuated everything else going on. And I don't know if you guys saw on social media, but after the match where he was basically saying Sheamus was robbed at the end, and you could talk about the finish, but you see the two of them like looking, and then that he had the quote that he was robbed, that Jesse Ventura said he was robbed. So that's the fresh perspective I'm talking about. Like Jesse, hasn't been watched, I'm sure, for years. So, for him to kind of have that fresh eye and just kind of commentate on what he sees is really awesome. I love that.
Well, what I thought was, and they also played up like Sheamus is the old guy, which is funny to me. Like, well, I'm really old. If Sheamus, like how Sheamus is so old. He's so old, and Bron is so young. Like, it was like, oh, he's old. But Bron Breakker, I think we haven't even kind of seen the tip of the iceberg with and eventually I see kind of like a morphed version of this. Like, I think he's going to get more in-ring skills, more, Mike's. I think there's going to be more to this. I probably a new iteration of him along the way. But Candace, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it seems preposterous to, just like you were saying, to think that Sheamus is like the old guy, but in hindsight, it makes sense because just like you were saying, it's the way that they're positioning Bron. I mean, it didn't take Bron long to go from NXT to main roster. And even in NXT, Bron was the way that they were just pitting him and positioning him. It's like you could tell that he was going to be something special. It's like the same thing that they did with, Carmelo. You see it with Trick. It's like these are like the future top guys. So it just like, it's really cool seeing just in such a short span of time how much Bron has grown. And like you said, I agree with you. It's just the tip of the iceberg. So if he's doing this now, what we're seeing in ring, I mean, a year, 2 years, 5 years down the line, it's going to be astronomical. And whether you love him or hate him, the crowd just has such a visceral reaction to Bron Breakker. Like he's amazing. So it's like, yeah, Sheamus isn't old by any means, but it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. I see how you guys are positioning him, Bron, that is. And it's cool seeing the storyline and how it's progressing and the matches that he's doing. And just, it's only the top of this year. So we have like so much more to see. So it's exciting.
So then after that, we got this. We got the contract signing in the middle of the show between Cody and KO. And out, like I said, came HBK in his hometown of San Antonio. And it was really exciting. And he comes out and tries to do his moves. And, he does this thing. And then he brings KO and Cody to the ring. What do you think about the crowd's reaction still to Cody's entrance and KO? Like, do you think Cody fever still reigns? You don't think it's diminishing at all, do you? Or do you?
I don't think so. I think he's getting still these big reactions, and he's still that go-to guy for the fans. I mean, just seeing him like signing an autograph on the way to the ring and doing all these little things make the biggest difference, and that's why the fans stand by him, because he's one of the most interactive people on the roster, like one of those friendly faces, always takes time. And then you think about it, like this is the big champion. This is as he likes to call himself, the quarterback, and he really takes that to heart. And I think fans still resonate with that. And it's very hard to do, by the way, in 2025 to have a genuinely good guy getting a react. Usually people are very cynical and they don't like, what is this guy? Is he fake? Is he like, what is his front? What's he getting out of this sort of thing? So for me, I think that is very rare to do. And it's really impressive to see how far he has come. And having Kevin Owens be on the other side of things and kind of bringing out this aggression out of Cody Rhodes, who's always, the stoic guy, always, in the suits, always on his game. But he's really kind of pulling that out of Cody by playing these mind games with him and everything like that. And Kevin Owens, though, his t-shirt game is undefeated when it comes to like coming to the ring. Like so many awesome things. I don't know if you guys saw on SmackDown when he wore that Naomi shirt for Jey Uso, and then fans, of course, will have some fun with it. They'll put on the wig. They'll give him something, and then Naomi kind of responding to that. So he's having fun with it too. And I thought Shawn Michaels did a great job also of being just not that figure in the ring that's just standing there, but actually being a part of the story.
Yeah.
So I think that really made for an effective time, especially in San Antonio.
Yeah, one of the things I think I talked to Candace about previously, maybe you and I was wondering, do we think the run of Cody Rhodes, has he really had those challengers? KO now in this coming match at Royal Rumble seems like a big threat. But up to that point, I never felt that I said this to Scott also, I wasn't feeling that. I think his reign would be helped more by more bigger match threat opponents. And I never felt the AJ style, like along the way, there were big threats to it. Like, oh, is he really going to lose? I never kind of felt that. Do you feel that now with this KO situation?
I mean, that was going to be the conundrum though, right? Like after such a huge storyline with, and all the hype and everything over the past few years with Roman and the Bloodline and The Rock, like, where do you go from there? And that's like a hard act to follow. But I agree with you. I think that KO is a formidable opponent, and there's many ways that they can go with this. And I feel with Cody being such a massive baby face, like this is going to work. Like I like this for both of them. And I'm just it piques my interest. I don't know about both of you or the wrestling world at large, but at least for me, it piques my interest because I really want to see where they take this, because they're both amazing in the ring. They're both excellent on the mic, and they both have been in some really great storylines in the past. And it's like, okay, where can we see this going? So I'm just like curious after, or, you know, by the time we get to Royal Rumble, which is next weekend, and then moving forward, how is this going to look? And I think that Royal Rumble is going to be some sort of a signifier to see like, okay, this is where we're going to see this being taken, or maybe not. We'll see, you know?
I mean, the thing is, the way that Kevin Owens, it's being written, instead of it being just so out of left field, makes complete sense. Like his what he says as the betray, you know, of like being pissed at Cody and the chances and the opportunities and being screwed over, like it kind of all makes sense. So you're not going like, why did all of a sudden they turn him into a heel? Like I follow the story in a way. I loved this part.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels can still throw a mean super kick, right?
Yes.
To music. And Kevin Owens, being a fan that he is, you know, I'm sure he loved doing this, even though he's a big Bret Hart fan, of course. You know, he's on the Bret Hart side of the debate. But
I'm on the Bret Hart side too. Are you? Or are you on Shawn?
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, I think I'm on the Bret Hart side.
I'm on Bret. I love Bret, but I know people have.
Yeah,
I love
his honesty. He's unauthentic. You're never gonna say that he doesn't, you know, present an authentic. You may not like what he says, but he'll tell you how he feels.
That's Team Bret. Sorry, HBK. But yeah.
But before we go on, one thing I think that Kevin Owens did a great job of is easily this could be like, okay, Cody Rhodes is gonna win, no doubt about it. But I think in the last couple of months, people have made an argument that Kevin Owens should be the one to defeat Cody Rhodes. So the fact that he was able to do that and get that in people's minds, even if it's not going to happen, I think he's done an incredible job with that.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, Scott. I thank you for that. You said it more eloquently than I did, but that's what I was trying to say. Now, the way he's presented this whole story, he feels like a threat coming up at the Royal Rumble, where otherwise I would have dismissed it and not felt like, oh, you know, here we go again. You know, I think that's due to Kevin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Like, all right.
You picked some great photos, by the way.
Amazing.
Thank you. I'm very good at picking photos. Thank you.
It is talent.
Jacob Fatu, Braun Strowman. What did you think of this? Because this was going to be these two, you know, big figures going at each other. I had a feeling this was going to end like it did. I knew they were going to they're going to keep building Fatu. That's the goal here. This is clearly the goal. We have got to show him as this crazed, dominant figure. And they know he has all the moves too. So 90,000 moonsaults off the thing. You know, I felt like this was they wanted to show on primetime, this guy, they're going to just keep going with this now as a singles competitor who annihilates everybody. What do you think, Candace?
I absolutely agree. Like, Fatu is scary. He's scary. Like, I remember seeing him in the ring. This is when Raw was in Philly last year. And oh my gosh, everyone around us we were all just like, yeah, we would never want to mess with this guy anywhere. Like it's wild, from the facial expressions, the moves, everything. So I love that they put these two competitors together, because Bron is equally he's huge. He's like imposing. But Fatu is he's something special. And I agree with you. WWE knows this. They're latching onto it. And the way that they're just building him is cool. Like, they're just really leaning into the fact that he's a really big, scary guy. And it's going to be hard to, you know, be an opponent against him.
But the thing that's amazing about him is he can really fly and run. Like,
yes.
Unlike other big guys that just pummel people.
Absolutely.
He can actually do stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you think? We have a run coming here, I believe, of Fatu
Yeah, I think last night was a breakout night for him as an individual, because so far he's been in the background of this whole bloodline feud with Solo Sikoa as his right-hand man. But now individually, as a personality, as a performer, you're starting to see him break out. I'm loving these little promos he's cutting on the way to the ring. These are you talk about being scary. Like, if you see that guy coming at you and saying these things and he's directing at you, oh man. So I've loved that sort of thing. And it's really showing that WWE, when they're signing these talent nowadays, everyone's like, oh, they're just pulling all these talent. But they have a plan for them. They are not just putting them on TV for the sake of putting them on TV. They are taking their time. They have a long-term plan for them. That's the difference between this era and before, is now they have like, okay, this is going to happen this week. This is going to happen this week. So having it play off at a time. And you're seeing that with a guy like Jacob Fatu. And you saw the reaction from the crowd. The guy's
killing him.
It was a crime scene. It was a crime scene with Braun Strowman, and fans were chanting for Jacob Fatu every time he came back. So that, to me, fans are hearing that. I mean, the guys in the back, I'm sure, are hearing that. The creative is hearing that, and this is the direction we're going in. And yeah, I think they did a perfect job of showing that. I'm actually surprised they went that far on a Saturday night's main event with all the blood. But
I did too. I did too. Scott, I did too. And the thing is, talk about the crime scene. This is what kills me. Where else would you see a guy annihilating and 9,000 big guys come out and nobody can subdue him? No one?
Always.
I mean, and they're not like little people coming out to like do it.
Yeah, they're paying these guys for it. They can't handle it.
Nobody can handle it. And somehow, with 9,000 security guards, he somehow can come. This crowd's going, Fatu, come back. So he comes running back. Somehow his manages to break through all those people, go to the rope and do it off the top rope and do the move again and again and again. And nowhere else but in pro wrestling would you see that. He would have been like handcuffed out of there.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to me how nobody can ever subdue these guys. And then Nick Aldis shows, like, I'm a completely ineffective general manager. I can't do anything, which is funny. Like, his story is funny. Like, you are really a lame duck. You can't do anything. Like, he just comes out, stop, and nothing happens. And the people were chanting. Now, I don't know if that says to us, we as Americans love violence, so keep going. Or are we saying, because it was violent, or are we saying, we just love you so much, keep going back? And then did Braun Strowman start bleeding?
Yeah, both.
When did Braun Strowman start bleeding? Because it wasn't there in the first 30 times he was hit in the head.
Yeah.
So then he was bleeding down here. So what happened? Was he really bleeding, or is that fake there?
Well, I thought it was on commentary they were talking about being internal, and then they were talking about they're
coming out.
So I'm not sure what they were trying to kind of present, because maybe
that
they
was
weren't sure.
In the selling of it, I was like, wait, why is he bleeding here?
Maybe he wasn't sure. Am I doing this, or tell me, I need some direction, guys. Like,
what am I doing?
Where am I bleeding out of?
Yeah, where am I bleeding out of? Because so much of it, we've all talked about, a lot of it is they're calling it into the referee from gorilla position. A lot of times we got to change this or let them know something. There's so much of that. I don't think the smart fans obviously know that happens, but there's a lot of that goes on. Like, there's literally call from gorilla to the ref who has to communicate it to the wrestler and somehow do this in a way where we're not really catching what's going on, which is what's so fascinating about
live TV.
Now I want to talk about this. So there was all these reports. Hulk Hogan was making an appearance. I was here in LA when he was completely booed off the stage. They booed him so bad at Raw. And then there was this thing that he was coming back. And then there were the reports, I think one was from PWI, Candace, that the reason Hulk was not coming to the show was he was attending his son Nick's wedding this weekend. But the other people were trying to say, no. His daughter Brooke gave birth to twins last week. And they were saying he doesn't get along with his daughter Brooke, so that's not the reason he's going. I mean, You want to talk about a soap opera? Like what is
Yeah, we
going
need
on?
a new Hogan's Knows Best. I'm ready to watch that season.
Hogan's Knows Best needs to be back. So what do you make of this? Do you guys think you should be even on WWE programming?
It's a delicate situation. It's funny because he was actually here in Orlando doing some appearances for his beer company. He was on a college UCF college campus.
Everything happens in
all over.
Florida.
Florida, for real.
Florida. Or in
But I know-
the state.
But it's weird because
Even
he was doing the promos for this Saturday night's main event show, and people were led to believe that he was going to come for this. So, and then, you know, he must have known that, you know, Nick Hogan's getting married. So, like, okay, that's going to be something that saved the date for. So, what was the plan this whole time? But Hogan is so entrenched in the history of WWE. It's not just somebody who was here for a couple years. Like, he was the featured attraction for so long. And so, when people, like, especially new fans, they don't really, they just go, okay, this is an old guy, old geezer. This guy, they don't understand. This guy, like, pop culture icon. Like, you ask people on the street, I'm sorry, yeah, there's CM Punk and, you know, Roman Reigns and things like that. But just the overall mainstream, that this iconic figure, when you people ask who Hulk Hogan is, you're going to know who Hulk Hogan is. Like, he's so a part of this. It's, you know, it sucks that, you know, he's also human. You know, he's going to make these mistakes and he's going to come off this way. And, you know, I'm not kind of standing up for him and his, you know, how he feels and the controversies that he has. But we put these people on a pedestal and, you know, we idolize them and things like that. And we just think they can do no wrong. And, you know, and here they are and these problematic figures. And then you're forced to kind of, it's almost like the history books. When you look back at the history, when we're putting statues up, you know, Columbus Day, you know, all these different things. It's kind of very similar. Like, you have to have him a part of history because he is part of the history of it. But it's such a, you know, it's such a polarizing figure right now because there's people that grew up with him, that love him, that still, you know, and he's been so entrenched in the MAGA, everything, political stance. So he's almost gotten this new kind of representation again. So it's kind of a weird kind of place to be in when you're a fan too, because you want to love Hulk Hogan because he's Hulk Hogan from the wrestling you grew up with, but he's also the Hulk Hogan of today and what we're seeing.
I was just going to say, you know what happened right last year with The Rock? They leaned into, the plan was for him to be the good guy, but they saw what happened with Cody and they made him a heel. He decided.
Yeah.
They, to me, they would need to lean into this
Yes.
with Hulk. If what the smart move to me is lean into it. If you're going to have him on TV, have him be a heel Hogan, which we haven't seen since NWO. Like, have him come back and whatever he does, have him be a heel. Because what I witnessed, now granted, it was Los Angeles, but what I witnessed there was, I even put it up on TikTok. There was just so many boos. Nobody wanted to hear him. They were trying to shut him down, and it came off like all insincere. So I would bring him in as a heel to do something. Maybe he's even like a second to some wrestler, and he's
Funny you say that because my friend, he texted me, and I don't know. I feel like this would be way controversial. I don't even know if they would go for it, but it is a really good idea if they really want to get that heat on both sides. Is pairing him with New Day and putting him with that group and saying, "You're getting no respect, brother." But you know the controversy with that whole thing. I don't know if they would go for it, but the blow up and the response, you know, both good and bad, would just be insane.
Right. This is they're really playing into social media, as you guys know, on and even using it as a tool to further story. And they have the action happen on social media, not on the shows, WWE. So since they're playing so much into this, they should definitely do, to me, if you're going to use them at all, do that or just keep them off. Candace, what do you think?
Yeah, I understand what you both are saying, but we're in a different time. Like, there's so much information out now. I believe that, and a lot of people are becoming, you know, we say the word woke so much, but literally, like, if they even, whatever direction they lean in with Hogan, if they decide to do this, I think the boos are just going to remain. I feel like there's too much information out there for people to make their own decisions about how they want to respond to him. And everyone has their own right to respond to Hogan however they wish. But with that being said, I think even just indicative of the boos that you stated that you witnessed, Michael, like that, I don't think those boos are going to go away. And
I don't either.
Yeah, I think they're going to get even stronger. And now that we're going into this new year, I don't want to get super political, but we're new year, new president. There's a lot happening. I feel like if WWE decides to lean in on this, it's going to create massive discussion, obviously.
And they should literally, to your point, and I agree. Like, then he should not be on at all.
But it's kind of a weird thing, because they're in bed with him.
They're in bed with his
it's complicated, absolutely.
And then who's going to want to be a part? Because I was talking about this on the Pro Wrestling Illustrated podcast, actually, about who would be a representative of the beer company if it wasn't Hogan. But then who would want to be a part? It's not like, LA Knight and Bianca Belair. Okay, Slim Jim, let's do this. But who back there is going to be okay, hey, you want to do this thing for Hulk Hogan with it? And you might get some people, because if you during social media you saw Rey Mysterio, he was doing some promo work. There were some people, so maybe you go in that sort of direction when it comes to the sort of thing. But it'd be interesting if they did lean into it and we do see Hogan more featured. What would the sponsors and things think too? Because he's such a problematic figure. It's kind of a very delicate balance, because they see Hogan here. Okay, why are you associating with this guy who's come off as being racist, or all those other things? So it's a really slippery slope that WWE's in right now, because they have them on the brand. It's almost like with Logan Paul with his brand too, because he is a problematic figure too. He is a controversial figure, and they're still kind of going in with that sort of thing. So maybe they're not going to shy away.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to your point, Logan Paul, he's also controversial. Like, they've leaned into it though at times. They haven't, he's on the shows, right? He's there.
Yeah.
All right. In the main event, Gunther and Jey Uso. I actually love this match. I thought this was the best to me that Jey Uso to me has wrestled in this match against Gunther. I just thought he was great, and I usually don't feel that. And I don't know how much eating we can do anymore, but they were going nuts for him. What did you think about Jey and Gunther, Scott?
I thought it was a great match. There was a little bit of me that thought, okay, what if it happens? But you kind of figured that Gunther was going to retain.
But I thought for a minute there's that one
near fall, right?
The one near fall. The moment that Jey had put together multiple explosions,
and the fans were so invested in it.
And I was like, I really thought, because I was like, Scott, there's no way this is just so. And then I was like, oh, wait. And it was so exciting. That whole section to me was the best part of the night. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But so I think this was also a litmus test. Can Jey Uso handle himself, which he has shown in the past as far as a main event setting, but in a championship singles match, the caliber of a Gunther and the world championship, can he handle himself? Will the fans believe it? And if they were kind of questioning it before, even a little bit, even some critic, I'm sure they're not doing it anymore today, and kind of shows that if and when this does happen, he's ready for it. So I think that was kind of that was the message that I think they sent last night, even though he didn't win the match.
I didn't like the ending though. So he did all this stuff, and all of a sudden to me, it was like, oh wait, we're running out of time. We got to end. I didn't. I felt that looked awkward. Like, how did Gunther, who just got pummeled by Jey, come back so quickly and do 1, 2 flips? It's over. Like that, I didn't like. Candace, what's your thought on the status of Jey Uso, like his performance, and of course Gunther's great, but what did you think of Jey?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Scott said. I feel like Jey, even though he didn't come out as the victor, like his popularity is already through the roof. This just made him even more beloved. And you don't have to, as we all know, you're not going to win every match, but for every match that you don't win, especially if you're in a position like Jey is right now, I think that just puts him in an even greater stead for the future. And we have, Royal Rumble coming up. We're in WrestleMania season. Like, there's so much that I feel they're going to do with Jey regardless, that you just can't help, whether he's a heel or a face or whichever, you can't help but love Jey. Like, he's just that dude right now. Like, we all love it.
But I never felt until last night. I do not feel he's so good that he could win like, I thought last night he put together the offense in the way it was presented to be a threat to win the big title. I never felt that as much before, because a lot of it was the yeeting and the posturing and the stuff and all the moves and all the stuff. It wasn't like, okay, you can win this and beat someone like Gunther. And last night I felt that for that 2 minutes. I thought, like, okay. And I'm worried though about Jey from here, because this WWE roster is so stacked. You talk about Royal Rumble, he's not going to win the Royal Rumble. He's not. I mean, as much, it's just, I can't see it when you've got all these other top level, and he's top as well, but I just don't see it. So I worry that he gets lost in the mix and just brought out to do a pop with the fans, and he doesn't become a real title contention threat. And didn't he lose now 3 times to Gunther? He hasn't won one of them, is what they were saying.
It's kind of the same that happened with Sami Zayn, and then he ended up getting the win at the end. So hopefully it's going to turn into that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So after this show aired, the comments on social media were this that I saw. One, so they're like, here's what Saturday Night Main Event is really about. One, it's really a house show. 2, no one's ever going to lose their title. That's what they were basically saying. Like, it was just a glorified house show. You're never going to see a belt change on it. And, they were literally saying, it's kind of like, why are you watching this 2 hours? Because it's a non-effective.
Yeah, but for me, one, this is the second one since it's been back, so you could say never is just like hilarious to me. They always go in ultimates here. It's so funny, but
all the fans do go in ultimates. I do.
The way they're not we all like to be in the bubble, right? All the time in the bubble. Like, we don't think about anybody else, anybody outside. This type of show is not for you only. Like, it is fun for us, but it's not for you only. This is for a broader audience. They're trying to get new fans. This is on NBC. Like, these are people that aren't watching the show every single
Saturday Night Live. Before Saturday Night Live on a Saturday.
Yeah, they're probably maybe they're watching. They're trying to, So they got to think on that sort of perspective. Like, they're getting good matches. They're representing. Like, look at it this way: if I was someone just not casually watching, would I have been entertained by that match? I don't know the whole story about Jey Uso and Gunther. I just see a guy with cool glasses. Everybody's eating against this guy guy from Rocky, looks like the guy from Rocky, fighting it out. And I really am digging this guy from Jey. And oh my God, this women's match was incredible. Like, these 2 ladies, these awesome athletic ladies doing these crazy, like, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at booking and creative and like, oh, this person is this. And, that's what you need to look at when you come to these shows.
That is so perfectly said, because that is true. I mean, they try to do that also, like, when Days of Our Lives, I'm just using this analogy, Days of Our Lives, before it went to Peacock, it was on NBC, and Peacock had them do a limited series. So they did a limited series like Beyond Salem. And it was a limited series of like X amount of episodes that told a story within it, contained story that if I don't know Days of Our Lives and I was a Peacock viewer and I came upon it, I could follow the story. I didn't need to know the 50 years of history. I could follow this story, right? Yeah. I got it from front to end. Understand the story. And in wrestling, that is the job of the wrestlers, in my opinion, is to sell this story in the ring. So I understand the viewpoint of where you're coming from. Okay, you're the heel, you're the bad guy, you're this, you're that. You're telling a story within that. And that's what I agree with Scott. And this is not for the deep dive wrestling fans. This is for trying to get mainstream viewers to watch. It's like soap operas. So what eventually happened is those viewers, they had some return back to NBC, and eventually Days went to Peacock. That's where their home is now. But it is to build new viewers. I agree.
That's the problem with AEW. To be honest, that's the problem with AEW. You're appealing to the same people. You're feeding the same people. You need to bring some other people to your restaurant. Provide something different. You need to dumb it down for people. Like, I love that on Saturday night's main event, they had for little things like Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu describing the tale of the tape, kind of showing how big they are, showing what the importance of this match.
Very prime time sporty.
Right.
Putting the rules of a ladder match. Like, we have been fans for so long. I know what a ladder match is, but other people don't know what a ladder, like, describe these things, dumb it down, make it simple for everyone to understand. If I'm just tuning in after a couple years, I'm seeing some certain things. So don't appeal just to the same kind of crowd. And that's what they're doing here. Not doing it.
That's hard. It's so hard now, though, because I see where both of you, everything that you're saying makes sense. And the first things that come to my mind are social media, different demographics. Appealing to the mainstream nowadays is harder than ever, not just with wrestling, not just with soap opera, but everything. Because if you're appealing, which I see with WWE, they're trying to get that Gen Z crowd, that Gen Alpha crowd. Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're on their phones, they're on social media, they're looking at webisodes, they're playing video games. Like, that's what you're competing against right now. And everyone has such limited time that no matter what, even if we're going to show this on a Saturday night, and people still watch things, they still watch Saturday Night Live, they're still at home watching TV, not everyone goes out, but it's still super hard, no matter if it's wrestling, soap opera, etc. So I think that's what WWE is going to have to really, I'm sure obviously they're tackling it, they're going to look at the demos, they're going to look at the numbers and see what's working. And then hopefully, say, for example, they're not getting the numbers that they want, then, like what you said, Scott, maybe that's when they start saying, okay, we're going to actually show the rules on the screen. We're going to actually do this. Maybe we bring, someone like, just so I show speed, bring someone like him here to like do streaming and do backstage stuff. They might just go harder into doing all of that so that they can retain numbers, because now we're thinking this is a business, a business acquisition that we're looking at. And it's hard. It's really hard to do that nowadays.
Yeah.
One of the things
real quick, just I was going to say with the SNL thing, it's interesting you say that, because I like SNL, but I don't really watch it live, or I don't watch it on the TV show. I'll watch it when I go on the SNL X account, and then they'll kind of have little clips, and I'll just pick and choose what clips I want to watch. So that is the time we are living in it. And like you said, it was interesting when you talk about the YouTuber, AEW was getting a lot of crap because of the Costco boys and the Costco family. But I mean, I appreciate what they're doing, but they already have that audience. So I think they need to kind of reach in another demographic to pull in, because they're already kind of getting that on. So that, for me, like, I appreciate that they're doing that, and they're getting that, but these are already bought fans, in my opinion. So
one of the things to this point, the thing to me though is, if we're on prime time, maybe there needs to be, to really get people to tune in, to grow this audience, maybe there needs to be a big title change on one of the episodes.
Yeah, but this is only the second one.
Yeah, like something that happens big, so it's a buzzworthy moment, because that night or the next day, every wrestling reporter and mainstream side, they're reporting on what happened, and right now we're not getting that so far. We're not getting that big.
But we got a new women's United States champion. That will be in the history. So when I say no title, technically we did get a new champion. So I don't know what the heck they're talking about there.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I'm just like, I couldn't, but they're just like, this is just a glorified house show. I see
elements of that, but
there is an element.
They want a safe show that'll deliver and make people happy.
Right. I was even shocked that they had Bron bleeding. I didn't think they would show that.
Yeah, that was
And then therefore I thought, that they must be really selling, Fatu as this horror to what happened.
Yeah.
Before we get into the news, let's quickly talk about the Royal Rumble. So I can't believe, everyone, it's literally.
Oh, I got my shirt, by the way. My San Antonio Rumble shirt.
I'm wearing Golden State because Steph Curry's my favorite. So there you go. And they're losing the game. So anyways, Royal Rumble, where I met Candace.
Oh, happy 1 year anniversary, everyone. I think today was the day of that press junket. So
Yeah,
That's your anniversary.
and,
Your anniversary.
yes, thank you. So this, I actually am liking a lot of the the key art for this year's Royal
Me
Rumble. I
too.
like the 0201.
You're
know
such
there.
TV people when you say key art, because you say that to it like it's not like a wrestling term. It's like a when you're in the entertainment journalism
Yep.
space.
Yeah.
Key art.
I'm
Key
like,
art.
key art.
Sorry.
it.
I don't mean to say
No, you're fine.
a poster.
We get it.
Graphics.
Excuse me. Graphics. So, what do you guys think here? Like, who's going to be? Who are the surprise entrants for the women? Jade Cargill.
Listen, I just need all I can think about is the women's rumble, and I need to see AJ Lee. I need to
Prayer
see
circle for that.
There's some people I need to see.
Wait, who do you need to see? AJ Lee and who?
AJ Lee is number one. Like, if AJ comes out, there's no telling what I'll do. I don't know if I'm gonna cry, if I'm gonna seriously, it's gonna be a moment. And she was trending the other day because so many people we're just like
her.
we need it. I think it's just time. Everything is lining up, and I'm just like, listen, we need it. I need to see Nikki Bella because I'm pretty sure that's like gonna happen. I saw some chatter of folks on X saying they don't want it to happen. And I'm just like, look, I'm not gonna. I love the Bella twins. I'm all over the slander. I need to see Nikki Bella. I think that's a lock at this point. But AJ Lee will just be so iconic in so many different ways because for the longest, we've wanted to see her, and she's just kind of been like, no, I'm retired, this and that. But I don't know. There's been some folks in the wrestling industry who are predicting that she's gonna come. So I'm just praying. Like
we're getting Masha Slamovich and Jordan Grace, you think?
That would be awesome. I think Jordan for sure. If we get Masha, that'd be really cool. I would personally love that.
And we're getting Charlotte's return, correct? It's got to be Charlotte's.
That promo kind of solidified that. And she's already showing up on the graphics yesterday for the Royal Rumble.
Graphics for the show. Yes.
For me, yes, definitely. Nikki Bella. I don't know if you guys have been watching The Traders, but that show is pretty insane. Love it.
I love The Traders. Yeah.
I don't know how she's been doing. Anyways, but love to see her back because I think what's great about having these women back because they're still of an age where they can still have these opportunities and they deserve, like, they worked so hard to get to the point for this women's division that I think it would be great to kind of see them enjoy the fruits of their labor. So often in the past that didn't happen. And so now we're at a point where they can kind of do that. So seeing like a Nikki Bella come back or AJ Lee, who AJ Lee was not there very long, but she just made such an impact on people. It's just incredible just to see the connection that they have with her. It's crazy. And it's almost like she created this legend within herself after all these years being away. Absence does make the heart grow fonder. For me, though, I want to see a Lay Cool reunion. I've been waiting for Layla to come back. We're seeing her more active on social media. Me and Layla go all the way back to Miami Heat Dancers and Diva Search. So I'm always been a fan of hers and Lay Cool, tag titles, tag division. Let's go. That's something that I want to see anyways.
Do you not think don't you think Jade Cargill's going to come out and everyone's going to be surprised and then she's going to go after, you're going to see something?
I don't know if the Rumble's the right time to reveal who attacked her, but I definitely think it would be a good chance for her to come back and then build upon who did it.
Yeah. And
maybe she doesn't know. Maybe she just doesn't know who did it. Like
and
it was in the dark.
Bianca shocked and Naomi, everybody shocked.
I love who done it. Yeah, I want to see that.
So who done it? I would like the who done it to get interested. Yeah.
It's about time for that.
And do you see Bianca turning heel?
I don't know. I think Naomi, I see it more, but
here we have.
Yeah, me too. Like I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna go that route personally as well. Like I agree with Scott. I see it more with Naomi, but I don't know.
Bianca has on that Cody Rhodes kind of wavelength with fans and the connection with them. So I don't know how that would be, but
So here's another graphic. Do you?
It's really cool.
It is really cool. I love them. I love the graphics. Do you have any thoughts on who could be a surprise male and the men's side, Scott? Or do you think it's just?
I see Joe Hendry coming in. I think that would be really fun. I'd love to see Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, show up in the Rumble match representing TNA. Just by the way, not Bound for Glory. The Genesis, incredible show, and the energy, and they just had a live show. So this partnership with WWE, it's not only WWE that's causing this; it's just all these little things.
And I was thinking it happened before the Royal Rumble, so they're definitely going to be TNA people in this.
Yeah,
sure.
Hardy Boys, Jeff Hardy, perhaps.
Jeff,
maybe Matt. I'm not sure, but one of the Hardy Boys I could see in that match.
Get a big pop.
Randy Orton would be good.
Yes, that's happening. That is happening. I know that's happening.
I don't know if we're going to see Hulk Hogan, but CM Punk wants to toss him over the top rope.
Well, that would be a great moment that everybody would yay.
We were talking about Hogan earlier, so
yeah.
And it's just a star-studded field. Like even without any surprise entrance, it's just crazy when they ran down some of the people that were already involved, and like you got Roman Reigns in it with John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, over Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso. Just it's
Has
incredible.
there ever been, you guys, because it's such an exciting stacked men's Rumble in the history since you guys have been doing this? Is this the most stacked? To me, it is. I don't remember you've got all those like a Cena, Roman, all the viable potential big stars.
That's the thing, like viable. Like nothing, like it's easy to pick a winner usually in past years. Not easy, but you have one or two. This one, you can put out scenarios and make viable cases for so many at once. So that makes it so exciting to see men's and women's. To be honest, I think they did a great job on SmackDown building the women's Royal Rumble pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think needs the win? Who do you think needs the win? Because there's always going to be a Gunther match and there's going to be a Cody match. If Cody wins over, the two titles that'll be up. If they stay the same. Like who would go against Gunther at WrestleMania if he's still the champ, and who would go against Cody? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we do not want a rematch of Roman Cody again. That won't happen.
Yeah. My kind of thing is I could see two different things. One, with Roman and CM Punk, like Paul Heyman, him cashing in the favor and maybe trying to get Roman to let CM Punk win. I don't know. I would hate that kind of scenario playing out, but some sort of thing where this favor comes into play, and it might happen at the Royal Rumble. Where
I think it's the reverse.
That's interesting.
He tells Heyman to help him screw over Roman so he can win the Rumble.
There you go. And then Roman, and then Paul Heyman's on the side of Punk against Roman is what you're kind of thinking at WrestleMania.
What I'm saying is the favor's going to be, I'm ready to win this Rumble. Roman's, it's down to us. Maybe Paul's at ringside, or maybe he called a favor and something's going to happen. The bad part of that is it makes Punk look kind of like a shit.
Yeah, like he's got to need the help
he needs the help.
But it makes Roman look strong still if he does get eliminated. So I could see both being that case.
Like that to me is the favor. That's such brilliant. The favor could be a big part of this for sure.
I love when they kind of put the little seed and they let it grow and then they go back to it like months later. So you just forget about it.
Yeah.
That is what's great about the product, because they've been doing that.
Yeah, nuance.
It's like we're not all. We went, oh my God, remember? Oh yeah, that's why. That's what's great about it. I don't know, but that's one thing. Punk or Roman, or then there's the John Cena saying he's going to win. It's going to be Cena versus Cody, right?
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I could see Cena winning because he needs a win. He needs to get jump start this tour somehow.
Yeah.
So he's been losing every time he's out there, and if he's going to be going for a 17th championship, he's got to win something big. So
fair enough. Yeah.
Whether it's here or Chamber or
Candace, what do you think? What guy could you see winning the Rumble? And what happens to my Seth?
True. Ooh, true.
Seth-a-la.
This is a bit.
Where does Seth-a-la go? Where does Seth-a-la go?
I don't. This is hard. Like, as much as I can see, it makes sense for Cena to win. But like for some reason, I don't know why, I don't see that happening. I'm just following my instinct with that. But like, this is so hard. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna do a swerve on us. I don't know. I'll have to come back to that because this is actually hard to like surmise as who could potentially win.
Talk to her
It's
next
just
Sunday
very-
after the Rumble, then she'll give you a pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Post-Rumble.
I don't know.
Hey, Candace, who do you think will win post-Rumble?
Exactly. Well, then I'm gonna have to like tweet about this or something. About
Do you
my
think
predictions this
so
week.
do you think Punk has a 90% chance of winning this?
I do. He's at the top. But
Roman?
He's at the top, but I don't. It's so sad.
That's a lot.
Nah,
I would
man.
like to see him
John.
win. I
John,
really would.
I don't think it can be Roman because then it's Roman.
I would, but then it does make sense if he wins. It does, because then it's like, okay,
For who? You
you're
know?
going on. This is your retirement.
All right. Well, now before we go, there's been a lot of news, and I want to talk about what's going on here with my former girlfriend, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. What is this? Now, let me just show you a couple things, and then we'll play. This post does everyone understand this is a parody account? I don't think
Apparently they did not.
Because look at this, you guys. I know. Look at the bottom. 694,000 views.
Gosh.
Look at this. Yikes. Allegedly audio, AEW owner, and TBS's a low level looped in the group recorded a snippet of Britt Baker. Now, I don't think people realize this is fake. It says it's a parody account. Now,
You, me, and this doesn't go anywhere but here. Britt Baker is a complete nightmare. Like, just the whiniest thing. You book her to go over, it's not good enough. She'll say the crowd doesn't like it. You book her to lose, she's pissed. She's done at this point, man. She's off to freaking WWE.
okay, so that starts this whole thing. Does that not seem fake? Or how would they? Can't be real.
It
That's
wasn't. It
the
was
first
totally
time
wasn't real, but it's pretty scary that people take these things seriously, and they become big headlines in these all these websites and push it.
This is what I'm trying to say. It says parody account. There's this whole thing. We all are reporters. You have to really check this out. Like, discern this, because it went all over the place, this thing. What is your thoughts on DMD Britt Baker and what's going on? She used to be my favorite girl, and now we're hearing these stories about her. Candace, do you think? I heard that she jobbed in 2016 to Nia Jax in WWE, and she didn't want to go there, or they didn't want her. Do you know what the story was there?
I just want to say, for me, that's the first time I heard about that call, but that's the first time I actually saw the tweet and like heard the actual. It's scary. Like what Scott said, it's really scary because now we have AI. All this technology is just advancing at warp speed. It's also scary because there's a high lack of media literacy, which is also extremely concerning. You don't have to be a reporter to understand it. Like there has to be vetting on all sides. And the fact that it's easy for a lot of people to just think that something's true without checking in on it is super scary. Like, this is a time where even doing something like that is so dangerous. It doesn't hurt to really read and understand and make sure that what you're reading is a parody or not. And as far as this whole drama with Britt Baker, it's wild because we'll never know, and this is just my opinion, but we'll never know exactly what's taking place unless we're a part of the situation. Like, there's always going to be two sides. I've always heard, even growing up, there's two sides to a story, and then in the middle is the truth. Like, we'll never really know what's happening. We can only just take whatever is given to us, but that's also a concern because what's given to us, and this is just speaking from a consumer and a wrestling fan's perspective, we don't know if it's the truth. Like, we're only getting what we get. So if now we're at a place where we're taking our news from social media and it turns out that what a person is saying isn't true, we have wrestlers who are actually going online now and saying if something is false or it's not. And that's something that I think is becoming even more rampant because the wrestlers are now in a spot where they have to speak for themselves. This is all still new in terms of social media and news. And we talk about kayfabe and all of that. And we've gotten to a point where wrestlers are now having to defend themselves online and say, I never said that. Or, yeah, I did say that. Like, it's all just, I feel like it's all crazy right now. And it's really
this is Tony Khan's voice.
And that's another thing, too. It's like, is that really, like, I'm listening to it and I'm like, it sounds like him, but it could be AI. It could have been doctored. Even if it wasn't AI, right? It's also concerning because it's like, okay, who is leaking this audio? Like, how are people getting audio from a business meeting that's only meant for the people who are conducting the business and putting it out there? Like, it's just all crazy to me.
What do you think is going on with the Britt Baker thing? She came back from injury. She was on the show. They were commenting that with the Serena Deeb match, she was not willing to play into that. That got people pissed. What is happening? Why, Scott? Why is she not on? What do you think?
It's hard to say as far, but that definitely would with the audio and thing. It's just it's crazy that people are believing that to be a real thing. But it's not like she she's on Cobra Kai. She has the visibility right now. The women's division has never been better when it comes to like being featured on the show as compared to the past. So it would make sense to have her on the show. But when you have this sort of maybe a couple people backstage, there could be a lot of chatter with that sort of thing that can impact things. But I don't know. With AEW, you just don't know because you got a guy like Ricky Starks out there sitting on the shelf. You have
my next
other talent. We'll talk about him, but same situation. It's like you have this talent that are just sitting at home and you're paying them. Same thing with Ray Phoenix. So all these different scenarios, and where there's smoke, there's fire. There's got to be something to this situation where a reasoning where, why she isn't on television and not saying like eventually maybe she'll get the voice to, or she'll feel a platform.
She hasn't said anything.
She hasn't been saying anything except kind of hear little things she'll respond to on X or something like that. But from my vantage point, it's really sad to see because I don't know her personally backstage or anything like that. I just know like all my interactions with her have been great, professional. She actually helps spread the word of when I'm fundraising, has provided money in the past. So this is someone with a lot of heart, and I just respect her so much, doing two careers the way she has and being a doctor and still wanting to wrestle, which she doesn't have to do. Obviously, she's going through a lot of personal problems too, like beyond the injury and all that sort of thing. I mean, she had a breakup that she had to address, which she probably didn't want to do that with Adam Cole. And now people are talking about her cheating on him. And it's like, it's just terrible. Like people going after her. It's not right no matter what. Like, even if she is, as you people are saying, like, what makes it even better that you're going after her relationship and being so personal with her? It's like,
I'm so disappointed in all this. I loved DMD. Like when I started watching AEW, she was the thing.
Right. She was one of the best parts of the show every week. She just delivered.
Every week it was DMD. She was the star from the women's division. Yes, they brought in all these other big names, but she was the original and she was the star of the women's division.
Yeah.
And she was great. And it's kind of like everything's been watered down. There's no run. Didn't she have? Then she had the stroke. She had a mini stroke. I read she had the back problem. I mean, the breakup. All those things are horrible. We don't know why she broke up with Adam Cole. The sad
Nor
thing
is it our
about-
business, right?
Right, none of our business. But the sad thing about that, however it happened, is I remember Adam just talking so much about Britt being there for him during his difficult time and how she literally took care of him. You know, that's so it's so weird to me that this went south, but things happen. It's none of our business. But do you see her whenever her contract is up going to WWE? Would they even give her a shot?
Apparently, she has a year and a half left on her contract, and apparently there would be interest. They would be stupid not to have any interest with. They got to at least consider a talent like her and see how she was, at her peak, to know that she can carry. But then it comes down to, is her wrestling ability? Can she stay healthy? It's all these things, but we haven't seen her wrestling for so long, so we don't.
There's something wrong.
I mean,
there's something wrong with these AEW contracts. Like, what is going on with Ricky Starks? Like, you take him off the show. Did they sign everybody for 5 years? Why are there no out clauses? Like, what is going on?
Well, they have him under contract for multiple years, but he's working independent dates and things like that. But you have a talent like that. Why not utilize him? Even if you're going to, have him lose and help put over other talent. I never understand the whole thing about paying someone and just not. I mean, I get to a certain extent. Same thing with Ray Phoenix. It's like, you have an agreement, we have the right to keep you, but at this point, what does it matter? Like, if it goes to WWE or whatever, you're paying someone, you're wasting your money, essentially, in a lot of ways.
Candace, when Ricky Starks, the thing that seemed to go south was there was that photo of him with Cody Rhodes, was that WrestleMania, or where he was in his entourage, and after that, he was never on AEW. So did Tony Khan get so pissed off? Like, what happened? Do you think? I'm so confused.
It's so hard to surmise. I mean, and it's sad because when it comes to Ricky Starks, he's a superstar. Like, even before entering AEW, I remember hearing so much chatter about him due to his work in NWA and so forth and so on. And like, people were ecstatic to see him coming to AEW. And even those that didn't know who Ricky Starks was, he made such an impression really quickly. And even while with his matches and everything, I remember that time period where people were like, he should be used more and he needs to be a champion and so forth and so on. And when he was doing the work with Hobbs and all that. And then it's just weird. But once again, we don't know the whole story. We don't know if, him being seen with like Cody was the catalyst for all this. Like, it's just strange. But to me, and I just want to go back to something that Scott said and add on to that, like the whole not understanding, paying these talent and to have them be on the show. Like, I remember having this discussion with a friend not too long ago, and I was like, it reminds me of like, in acting. If you're an actor, a lot of people say you're only as good as your last film, right? Like, you have to keep kind of building onto that. And then I think about like the star meter that they have on IMDb, where it's like, you could just have one role and it just shoots you up.
My star meter has fallen, by the way.
And see, you're like,
my star meter is shit. So,
but that's the thing, like these things, I don't know. And I see this discussion on social media. Like, some people think it's cool for the wrestler to still just collect the check and like stay at home. But to me, I'm just thinking, well, you want to work though. You got to, get the muscles. It has to be frustrating to like sit and not wrestle and not do anything.
I tell you what really upset me. You talk about Ricky Starks and the Independent. There was that clip, right, on social media where he's talking, and I'm looking at. Do you think I want to see Ricky Starks with 3 rows of fans in the audience? It upset me. I was
it also makes AEW look bad as a brand. That you're kind of that. Why are you sending talent over there when he could be on? Your show. Like, he's such a big star. He's an AEW talent. Why is he only drawing those 3 rows of people or something? I don't know.
I know. It really just feels like we're trying to like flatten
more damage to them as a brand, just letting that happen. I mean, not letting that happen, but
That's interesting you say that, because it felt like it would be the inverse. Like, I think it was supposed to be like a goodwill, like, okay, if you're the talent, we're giving you freedom that you can't get, say, if you're in WWE, to actually work these shows. But now it's interesting seeing how this is all like coming full circle, because, for example, we have WWE now working with like TNA and doing, you know, the WWE ID program. Like, it's very intriguing seeing how all of this is changing and how it's starting to look on the side of like AEW saying, oh yeah, we'll allow you, like, you can work these dates on the indies, you can do this. But it's like, is it hurting their brand or helping their brand now? Before it felt like it was helping their brand, but now
it's a good point. Yeah.
It's a great point. It's a great point. I was going to say the belief from fans is that Ray Phoenix, because Penta's there at WWE, Ray Phoenix, Ricky, Britt, there was a list. And what was the Malachi Black thing? Is he actually going there? Like, they're all going back. They're all going to WWE.
Think of Royal Rumble surprises. He kind of did.
Oh, true.
He's a little bit showing that Royal Rumble, like he was watching a Royal Rumble, old Royal Rumble. So
true.
Yeah.
But that's another challenge. Like, and it's just perception is reality. Even if it's like you could be trying to do the right thing, and you have every right to do the right thing when it comes to them maintaining your obligations to you and things like that. But at the same time, when it's doing irreparable harm to you as a reputation, as your perception of a company. And if you have talents that are negotiating with you in the future that want to go to AEW, you're showing them how they're getting treated as far as like the freedom to, to go wherever they want, or not go wherever they want, but just the environment you're creating. So when it comes to like trying to get a high price free agent one day, this is going to play into this. So it's kind of, for the long term, I think it's doing irreparable harm by keeping these guys and girls like sitting on the shelf when they can be contributing in some way.
I 100% agree. And also a lot of things I've seen based on what fans have seen with with the people we're talking about, Ricky Starks, Britt. Now they're like, well, wait, maybe CM Punk's thing really wasn't Punk's fault. Like, they start to question all the inner work when they see this. A lot of that I've seen too, like, well, maybe this really wasn't, maybe it's all AEW. And you don't want that for a brand. I mean, we want AEW to succeed. I want it to succeed. I want it, I told you, I think the wrestling's fantastic on there. I want it to succeed. But I don't get why these stars are it's a bad look. That's what I think. It's a bad look. I don't know what's going on, but it's a bad look. But that's what I was saying. All right, guys. Well, this has been great. You guys, it's so informational. I think you guys have such great perspective and knowledge of pro wrestling that I think fans should listen and hear. Now, Scott, where should everyone find you?
On X, you could find me at SM Fishman. You could search me on my Facebook page. And
he's always on X.
Yeah,
he's always
I love that. I'm trying to build up my engagement so I can get to a certain point and maybe make a little bit of money. That'd be nice too. But anyways, so you can find me on there. Okay. What was that?
You'll get bigger and forget about us.
That is the hope, right? No, I'm kidding. And then TV Insider, of course, you could find my stuff there. And then
have you guys seen, by the way, he has such great interviews in TV Insider. And I'm always thrown. I love Scott's interviews with the wrestlers, by the way. And then all of a sudden I'll see like the Sean Kanan article, and I'm like, wait.
You never know. I like to broaden my reach a little bit, right? So if Discovery Channel shows, Bravo shows, whatever you want to throw at me.
My point is, people can do multiple things. I can do soap operas and wrestling.
Yeah, don't put us in box, people. We're not just wrestling. We're not just this or that.
Exactly.
I have multiple interests. Candace, you're missed everywhere. You've got so many. So
she's on Broadway, I think I heard.
She's on Broadway now.
I mean, I was doing, Broadway World. That's been on hiatus, but like we were saying, I do multiple things. So you can find me on Twitter. I still say Twitter. I'm just gonna always say it. Find me on Twitter at Candace Cordelia. You can find me on Instagram at ThatGirlCandace16. Also, you'll find me at South by Southwest. I will be moderating and hosting a panel about wrestling, fashion, styling. We're going to have huge guests. We're having King Troy, who's a stylist to so many wrestlers, including Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, etc. We have Sarath, who
Seth
is
Rollins?
yes, definitely. We have Sarath Tone, who is, I mean, he's behind the scenes. He is the seamstress there. His work is phenomenal. And then we have Yolanda, who she designed Cody's robe for, I believe it was WrestleMania 39. Yeah. So our panel is fantastic. A lot of big names. It'll be in Austin. If you're around, check it out. If not, we should have footage of it. So support, and we are excited.
You know,
when is that?
When is
that? That will be well, our panel should be the first weekend. It's should be March 9th. So that's a Sunday. Nice. And it'll be live regardless. So I'll send more information for sure.
Please do. You know, when I worked in WWE, I just remembered it was the seamstress and the costume design and everyone that worked backstage. It's such like a machine, but you know, you're literally seeing them. It's really fascinating watching them like creating the outfits that they're going to wear. And then you would see them try them on. It's really fascinating. It's like there's a bunch of seamstresses and costume people back there sewing them up, even right before they go on the air. Things not working right, you know, and the wrestlers having what they want and the costume designers making, you know, giving them concepts. It's a really interesting thing that goes into what you see them being presented as. It is a whole other side to this.
It is.
It's really fascinating. And you think about the amount of turnover, the amount of outfits they have to do.
It's wild, and they deserve their flowers. We need to give more of a spotlight on the people behind the scenes as well, because there's so much, and they make the wheel go round and keep it turning. So yeah.
So here's the deal, and I say this with a caveat. Theoretically, I'm going to Royal Rumble. Scott is going to Royal Rumble. Candace, I don't know if you're going this year, right?
No, not this year. But Mania time, we'll talk for sure.
If we go, or if nothing happens, then maybe Scott and I will pop in live on a live, either on X or something. We need to do that, pop in live as something's happening. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah. Maybe you'll see us from the Royal Rumble stuff.
Yeah, Michael's been trying to go to a pay-per-view for the past year, and it hasn't over about a year.
Since I saw Candace.
Since WrestleMania.
No, which is wild. And I missed you at, did I see you at Mania, Scott? Did we see each other?
Yeah.
I
was freezing along in Philadelphia.
I was at Mania in Philadelphia.
But I didn't see you. Which sucked.
I remember with Candace, I had some conversation with her before we got to see that SmackDown. We
yes, that's right. That's right.
Scott didn't even know me last WrestleMania.
No.
Really?
No.
I still don't. So if you see me in Indianapolis, you don't know me. So okay.
It's like I'll never.
Candace, if I do end up there and nothing happens, who am I going to talk to and scream with the entrants as well?
I know, and like try to like see you.
See what's going on, and be like dumb shits. Like, I don't know who this is.
That was hilarious. That was such a fun
the whole
time.
group was like that, though, Scott. Like there's like this group. We're like, what's going on? What's going on? It was like
that was so much fun. I love being on the floor though. That was fun. That was the energy was just like it was.
Scott texts me a map. So this is very interesting. So Scott texts me a map of Lucas Oil Stadium and goes, "You see this? This is where we're going to be because it's basically sold out, right?" So
it's over 60,000. Well, there's still tickets, but there's going to be over 60,000 people. So I'm just assuming where we're going to be put will probably be.
Well, I will. I'll be up there. You'll be down.
I'll be in the press box, Michael?
No, I mean I'll be up at the top of the stage.
No,
he's gonna be in the Sting seats.
No, you. Oh no, you won't.
We'll see. To be continued. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. It was have a great Sunday, everybody. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.